If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden & Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden & Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden & Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum designed for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
All right, hello, welcome to a live edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford here. AD Drew is on a remote location somewhere in the state of Alabama, but he's good enough to join us. And then joining us live via video is our good friend Jamie Walker. Jamie, how you doing, my man? Unmute your mic there. Unmute your mic, and then we got you.
Cool. I am good, man. I'm doing well.
Nice. Drew, checking in. I feel like I hear crickets in the background. Drew, where are you? You don't have to give exact locations.
I'm not that country in Alabama, but Right now, I'm actually in the capital city of Alabama right now, Montgomery, Alabama.
As a pickup truck passes Drew, talking about I'm not in a country location.
Clearly, he is. Clearly.
Right. I'm not in a country location. That was just a pickup truck that just passed me. So ignore it, guys. Good to be on with you brothers tonight. Glad you were able to find some time. Safe travels out there on the road, Drew. So Jamie, how you doing tonight, man? How's your summer?
Summer's going well so far, man. I can't complain at all.
And you're enjoying your time. Of course, you if you don't mind me sharing, you teach. You're in that education profession. So are you making the most of this time before it's time to head back to work?
Man, crazy enough, yes, I am. I'm changing systems though. I'm changing school systems. So my summer's just a little bit shorter this year, and getting back into coaching, man.
Really?
Coaching little middle school football, man. So we've been doing preseason workouts, man. So
wow, breaking news. Jamie Walker putting the whistle back around the neck.
Just a little bit, man. Just to scratch that itch. That's about it.
Hey, Jamie, just to throw this out to you, when I was coaching at the middle school and high school level, there's a reason why I started coaching volleyball, and it was called July with football. That July heat made me go and start learning an indoor sport.
Absolutely. It has been warm, especially the last couple of weeks down here in Georgia. It hadn't been bad, man, as far as humidity, but the last 2 weeks here in the Atlanta metro area has been blazing. So yeah, it's been crazy.
Now, since we're bringing up the topic of middle school athletics here, and I know Drew has shared like the amount of games and the seasons of middle school. What kind of time frame? How many games are you guys playing in middle school? And you can feel free. What sports do middle school students have the opportunity to play up in Atlanta?
Oh wow!
Say the Atlanta metro area, because you may not actually be in the Atlanta.
Yeah. I was in the city. I was in the city for a while, but now back on the outskirts. Football, volleyball. Some school systems have volleyball.
Just girls volleyball?
Yeah, they do. Basketball. They play softball in the fall here.
Okay.
In Georgia, it's one of 4 states.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
Playing in the fall. Flag football is huge now. Girls flag football. That's kind of spread throughout the country. Baseball, and what am I missing? You have some
track.
School systems.
Everybody's
with swim.
got track.
Yep, track. Definitely have track. So yeah. I mean, they're kind of into everything. Really, you'll have school systems that don't have a lot of volleyball. Unfortunately, you'll have some that only start playing volleyball in high school. So you're either on the club circuit or you're learning those skills when you get to high school.
Okay.
Two other things, man. There are some systems that offer boys and girls soccer. Both of those are offered in the spring, and there are some middle school programs who actually offer wrestling. Some of the larger school systems offer wrestling for their middle school students. But Jamie, I've got a question for you, since we're talking about the state of Georgia, and you mentioned flag football, with flag football becoming a bigger sport in the state of Georgia. Not quite as big as it is down in Florida, Brian, but Georgia is definitely growing. Do you see Georgia moving softball to the spring? Because you got flag football, volleyball, and softball all in the fall. You're asking these young ladies to make a decision real early in their athletic career, because you can't play all 3 of them during the same season. In addition to cross country, also forgot about cross country in some systems.
That is an excellent point that I have not pondered on. That is a real possibility because right now, if you're looking at the spring, I guess you're because flag here is if I'm not mistaken, I mean it's fall, but it's kind of in between. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of in between, but it's right there amongst basketball.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that happening. And the way that Georgia kind of presents it, the Atlanta Falcons are heavy. Arthur Blank is heavy into flag football. In fact, that's where they had the state championship games last year. Coincidentally, that football wasn't even at the Dome. They'll be returning there this year, but that was controversial in the last few years. Them kind of being overcharged to be in the state championship games for regular 11-man football. But the Atlanta Falcons are behind that sport being in the States. So I could easily see softball being moved, but softball is huge here. So it being one of 4 states that still play it in the fall, maybe they'll take that significance and keep it there, but I could easily see it moving as flag football grows.
Well, interesting. I'm a bit envious. Well, at least student athletes in this neck of the woods here in Central Florida should be, because I won't say so much as Orange County, but Seminole County has done a poor job with their middle school athletics, and Orange is maybe a little bit better, but still, it's a long way. I don't think anybody is playing middle school football, which is crazy given the. Again, when I moved down to Florida, I thought Florida was this football crazed state. No, technically Florida has football athletes, but in terms of the craziness of Florida, it is mild compared to Texas, compared to California, compared to I'd even go so far as say Georgia. It's so I'm saying it, and those of you in Florida, you can get at me however you want to, but I've seen it for 25 years, and let's not even get me started on basketball. But anyway, we can, that's a whole nother sore spot. But anyway, thanks for you guys joining us. If you're on YouTube or Facebook watching us, we appreciate you tuning in, joining us. Please make sure to hit that thumbs up button, that like button, wherever you're watching us at. If you're on YouTube, we appreciate it. For subscribing to the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. Of course, Jericho Broadcast Network's the parent company of the Black College Sports Network. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number 1. And go download that Jericho Broadcast Network's app that you see in the top right corner. Of course, if you're watching this stream, MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can find us on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Before we get going, let me give a few hellos right off the bat. Kelly Flicks, first one to jump in there on YouTube. Say what's up there.
Flicks.
See what kind of controversial poll rankings Kelly Flicks will be dropping out. I'm just kidding. Mary 305. Somebody beat you in Mary 305, but we're always good to see you. Appreciate you, Jeremiah Clark, for jumping in. And of course, I am avoiding all rampages today. So those, if you know, no rampage. Although we might get into some interesting discussions today, but I don't think I'm going to be the one to rampage today. So I'm just kind of putting that out there. Tamara T, good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. Tamara says, hey, Jamie as well. And so we appreciate you. And again, even though you don't see Drew is with us. He's just doing the audio version today with the show. So what we plan to talk about primarily, as you saw the title of the show, we had this great idea. Actually, no, I'm giving all credit and praise to Drew. Drew had this great idea for us to do sort of like an ultimate HBCU football road trip. And so we got everybody. Let's make sure we're on P's and Q's. The boss is watching. The boss is tuned in. So we say what up to the boss, Roy Evans, of course, the president, CEO, Jericho Broadcast Networks. So Drew had this great idea to take. We know the season schedule, and let's put together a road trip. Like if somebody gave us a budget and said, Jamie, Brian, Drew, you can go to one game a week or however you want to do it. What's the best schedule that you can put together? So that's the assignment. That's what we're going to do coming up here in this show. So we're going to break down the best games and share with you, if we were taking a road trip, what that road trip might look like on a week-to-week basis. Kind of interesting, guys. The month of September, we have 5 Saturdays in September, 4 October Saturdays, and like 3 November. So it almost, there's no. We're starting at week 1. We're not doing any week 0 because look, we're all going to be at probably the MEAC SWAC challenge. I mean, I don't know, Jamie. Did you start at week 0? Or did you start at week 1?
I started at week 1.
Okay.
Because MEAC SWAC, the only show going on. So yeah, I started at 1.
Okay, Drew, did you start at week 1 or did you creep into week 0?
Because I think the only other game week 0 is Langston plays someone in week 0. But other than that, I believe all of the rest of our games start week 1. And if you tell me MEAC SWAC challenge or Langston, I love Langston, but I don't love him that much.
I got you. And so one little tweak to this that we'll do, and the challenge that really outside is, because obviously is to try to only go to one place once. So that's the first criteria. And then sort of the added bonus is if you happen to go to a classic, those 2 teams, you can't go see those 2 teams anymore during the year. So, that made it really interesting and challenging. And so we'll kind of break down how all that works. Also, the Billboard 50 best rap groups caught my attention, and I was like, "Oh, we got to do a top 5. We got to talk about this list and and break that down." Obviously, we are children of practically. Well, some of us have been around for all 50 of these years. Some of us have not. I'm not gonna say who, Jamie.
Watch them out, Brian.
I didn't say who. I'm just talking to Jamie, saying I didn't say who. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we'll break that down. So if you guys have not seen the Billboard's 50 best rap groups, we'll share that. But go Google that. But obviously, before we get going, it's the 4th of July weekend, which I didn't even process that the 4th of July is actually Tuesday. A lot of people are using the Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Hell, some people use Friday because of Essence Fest to just this is a big 4-day, 5-day weekend. But it does come on the heels of some non-sports news that definitely will have an impact, or we believe it will have an impact on HBCUs. And that was the Supreme Court's decision to suspend, or I'm sorry, not suspend is not even the right word, but to end the affirmative action clauses that affects education and high institutions of higher learning. So we're not going to get into a long debate discussion here, but I did think it was worth mentioning because it is relevant, and I think a lot of people's instant reaction was how it's going to affect HBCUs, and I've seen a lot of people in social media spaces talking about the increase and how it's going to affect HBCUs. So we'll just go around the horn and honest discussion here. I've got some minor thoughts on it, but Drew, I know you said coming in you had some thoughts you wanted to get off your chest, and so I'll let you start.
Well, before I get into that, July 4th will be the 142nd anniversary of the founding of one of my alma maters, Tuskegee University, which was founded on July 4th, 1881. So just wanted to definitely throw that out for everybody. So,
all right.
With that being said, obviously, anyone in education, all 3 of us are educators. All 3 of us have been a part of higher education as attendees. We chose to go to an HBCU. Now, whether each of us chose to go to an HBCU because that was our only option, or we just knew we wanted to go with an HBCU to an HBCU is irrelevant. Yes, I had the opportunity to go to non-HBCUs as I assume that you guys did also. But the fact that this affirmative action has basically stripped away, could potentially strip away, because it hasn't. It's only 2 schools that we know that's going to happen: Harvard and North Carolina, because those were the 2 schools who were in the suit. But effectively, potentially strip away opportunities for minorities. I'm not going to say African Americans. I'm going to say minorities. That is Asian Americans, people of Native American descent, people of Latino or Hispanic descent. For that to be a consideration, hey, you want a diverse school, so you need to make sure that you intentionally recruit other people. And the one thing that I've been seeing on the internet, we've all seen it, HBCU, it's time for you to start building dorms. It's time for you to get your infrastructure right. I got a problem with that. Where we are asking our HBCUs to do a minor miracle, when anybody who knows how these dorms are typically funded, it's through state appropriations. The bulk of the money comes through state appropriations. Yeah, you have some donors and you have some other funds, even a few federal dollars. So we've had our institutions who've been intentionally underfunded to the tune of billions of dollars for all these years, and we're going to expect them to all of a sudden come up with a plan to increase dorm space because we anticipate an uptick in applications. Well, y'all, don't get your hopes up that we're going to come up with a functioning plan, given all the other parameters that we have to deal with as HBCU. And if you so happen to get into this HBCU, because there's still plenty of first-generation students at these HBCUs, you're gonna have so much debt because the government still doesn't want to find a way to forgive some of this debt. Now, as educators, you can get part of it forgiven if you go to certain school systems. If you work in police, fire, certain government jobs, you can give it back certain portions of the service industry. But for a majority of people, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I've got a lot of mixed feelings about this, and this will be my last thing before I turn it over. My late sister, Cora Faith Walker, who was a state representative in the state of Missouri, and I just think of all the Supreme Court decisions that have occurred since her passing in March of last year. When you go back to Roe v. Wade, you got affirmative action, you've got the LGBTQ decision that has come down, and all these other decisions. My sister would be turning over in her grave because all of these issues were issues that she fought for when she was in the Missouri State Legislature, in addition to all the health issues that we've had to deal with. I'm off my soapbox for right now, fellas. I could take up the rest of this segment if I wanted to be greedy, but I definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to speak.
Jamie, go ahead with your thoughts on the decision.
Man, Drew touched on a lot. I'm gonna tell you, I agree with a lot of it. The point about the expectation of our institutions being ready for the infrastructure is spot on, because I was one of those people that said that as well. We needed to get our infrastructure up for these influx of students, and that expectation is a lot to put on our schools that are grossly underfunded. You know, I'm an alum of one of those schools, well, a lot of our schools, but if you look at a lot of those lists, A&T is at one of those top few that is, over $1 billion underfunded when it talks about the schools that they've appropriated monies for within the rest of the state and country. And so when you're looking at dorm issues, a lot of our stuff is blown out of proportion because we still house a great deal of our students. But I will tell you, the housing situation is hard to come upon, especially after your sophomore year. It was the same when I was in school from 97 through 02. And it's even worse now because of the influx of students, because the school is grown. You're up to 14,000 students now. You're talking about 40,000 applications coming through just A&T, and having to make those selections. We got fined $2 million for having too many out-of-state students before they eventually raised the cap going into this year. But when you're looking at those decisions that are made, I think the Supreme Court buttered us up in the last month in relation to voting, only to come crashing down in a couple of different cases with this affirmative action case and what was it? What was another one that directly affects us? It was I cannot think of the other case that just came out. But you're talking about the student loan relief as
Student
well.
loan relief, right?
Yeah, student loan relief. And so you're talking about something that directly affects HBCUs, whether directly or indirectly. I know everybody doesn't go to school on loans, but when you're talking about Pell Grant recipients, people that have needed assistance going into college, I was definitely one of those students. Having that relief could have helped. But going back to the original point, I think when you're talking about just what we want to do, because we have a lot of lofty goals when it comes to our schools in general. We want our students to come back. We have those, but I don't think oftentimes we think of the consequences behind that, because we're not prepared for the influx of students. I think, and I know he has been criticized a lot for speaking on HBCUs, but there's a balance that goes with that. But Roland Martin has pointed out that if you're talking about the students that go to PWIs coming back to HBCUs, there's no way we could have them at our schools. Like literally, we don't have the room. And so getting prepared for that is a huge task. We don't know also whether all students would want to come to HBCUs. Let's just be honest for a second. Everybody doesn't, we have stigmas that oftentimes we have to debrief people about our institutions in general. That's always an ongoing thing. So we're not sure if every student, just because they're a Black person, does not mean they want to come to our institutions. So, everybody doesn't do us.
You're saying exactly what Jeff Roberts said in the chat room there. Students that don't get admitted to elite colleges will, I'm assuming he's saying PWIs, will find another PWI to attend. It's not that they're not just going to instantly turn to HBCUs.
That's exactly right.
Misconception.
Absolutely.
Keep in mind, there are over 700 minority serving institutions. HBCUs are just one class of those minority serving institutions. So you've got Native American serving institutions, you've got Asian American serving institutions. So just let's not just say everybody's coming back to HBCU. And, there are 700 of us who are facing this challenge. It's not just the HBCUs that are facing this challenge that we are talking about. And I'm sorry, y'all. And you can mute my mic after this, Brian, because what I'm about to say, some people are going to take offense to this. But if you haven't voted, whether whether your person won or not, shut up, because you have no input into this. The problem is because y'all haven't voted.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, look, I mean, voting matters, right? Because you have three justices from the Trump selections, right, that are part of this, and those three have made major moves over the last 2 years now, right? Last year and this year, they have made an impact. So yes, it does go to show that when you talk about how does voting matters, well, you're seeing how your vote and how voting matters. Well, it's funny. I had this. You talked about you referenced that whole thing about being an upperclassman looking for dorm space, and I mentioned that to a friend, and she was like, "What, at a HBCU? You don't? There's no room in dorms for juniors and seniors?" I was like, "Well, usually no, because they start with freshmen and sophomores, and I mean, but you know what? I don't even. I was so naive to not even think about what that looks like at other schools. Obviously, when you went to school at A&T, there was another PWI across the railroad tracks in Greensboro. Obviously, we had one across the railroad tracks at FAMU, and it's interesting to say what is dorm life for a junior or a senior. Does he or she have the ability to stay in a dorm situation at those schools? It was something I didn't even
not unless you're on scholarship at a HBCU.
Yeah, but I was just just referencing back. So I mean, the whole infrastructure has to improve. But I think people skipped over the biggest thing. I think people skipped over the fact that before everyone started admitting these people, nobody talked about applications. Applications is where it starts. The increase in applications may be what we see rise. Now, obviously, this decision by the Supreme Court on Thursday, again, which I'm reading right out of an NPR article, effectively ended race-conscious admission programs at colleges and universities across the country based on the admissions programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. Now, again, it's funny. I saw, who is this who posted this in the chats here? Was it Tamara or was it Kimra? I should have marked it because it was good. It was talking about the largest minority group, Tamara, noting that Asians are the largest minority group at UNC. That's interesting, very interesting. I would have never guessed that, Jamie. You shaking your head, so obviously that's something that's pretty well known, I guess, in that area.
It's funny, man, because it's so interesting that UNC was actually one of those schools brought up. I've had several friends that have attended UNC, and for the most part, when it comes to what they've done in relation to civil rights, you can kind of look and see what's going on there. But the benefactor of affirmative action, to me and to a lot of people, have more so been white women than it has been any other group. And so in theory, I think the outrage comes with anything that is attempting to serve minorities being, X'd out. But the truth of the matter is, it hasn't been as beneficial to us as we would have liked. But even so now, that's even being counted. I think California had already eliminated, race-based admissions to their schools, and you've already seen their impact as less minorities have been in those positions, especially Black folks. So it's going to be interesting what the impacts are. But to me, go where you're appreciated. At the very end of the day, go where you're appreciated. I wore a shirt the other day and posted it. A shirt I've had over the last couple of years when it comes to, even referencing UNC and Duke and NC State.
I saw that.
Instead of that, mark those out. A&T, it pains me to give them a shout out, but North Carolina Central and Winston-Salem State, they're amongst other HBCUs in the state of North Carolina. You can go get a quality education. And in the case of, quite a few institutions within the state, such as in Elizabeth City, Fayetteville State, you're not going to pay that much for that education, as they have capped tuition costs. So, you can go get a quality education, have the HBCU experience, go somewhere where they will truly appreciate you. But I, those kinds of things should be considered when you're going to an institution in general. I understand that, the prestige and the marketing of some of these institutions, living on Tobacco Road, you're going to hear, Duke and UNC. You just are. There's going to be an allure there. I get it. But at the same time, when it comes to talking about your education and who truly appreciates you as a student, hey, there are some places that will give you more of an appreciation than those that are all over the billboards.
Would a possible solution be pushing more of these applicants to online versus traditional, as in moving to a particular city, so you get a degree with an HBCU name on it, but unfortunately, because you're online, you're not going to get the experience. But when I go apply for that job, no one is going to know whether I was in Greensboro and attended North Carolina A&T, or whether I was in California and attended North Carolina A&T.
Online education,
temporary solution.
Online education, trust me, as somebody who facilitates watching kids do virtual learning, it ain't for everybody. I'm telling you now, it's not for everybody.
I agree with you, but I'm gonna tell you one school that's been a benefactor of that: Liberty University. Liberty University enrollment is huge because of online education. It has been people are paying that money to get that degree and to remain in place, and not just because of the pandemic, but they have been. And you can even see how it's affected their athletics as far as student fees and things of that nature, and it's blown up.
I was just going to say, if the trickle down result of that is it's putting, because of those student fees, it's putting money in the coffers of athletics. Hey, that's something that is really schools will start paying attention. Those schools that are interested in improving their athletic programs, I'll say.
Absolutely, and so I think that is a consideration. Now, I'm not I hate online learning. I just do. I would so much rather be in a classroom because I can get that experience. Not to say that I wouldn't have graduated from college if I wasn't if I didn't have the ability to go to a classroom, but it would have been real hard without those professors being able to look me in my face, and vice versa. I understand how they feel and them be, into what I was doing, to have that experience at a school. I don't know if I could have in the same manner that I, ended up graduating and appreciating education.
But maybe that's a generational thing, JB, especially since the pandemic, because a lot of these new applicants were forced online, and they are almost used to it because of the teacher shortages. And there was a teacher shortage before the pandemic, because I taught classes online and monitored students while they were doing virtual learning while at the school. So maybe this generation could do what we could do. I agree with you, JB. It would have been tough for me to have attained my degree via virtual learning, back in my day. But even now, with our continued education that we have to do, JB, what do? Do we go to conferences like we used to for continued education? No. You pay your money. You sit at your computer. You do it. You answer the questions at the end. You get your certificate, and now you got your CEUs for whatever you need to do to help maintain your job or to get the raise or whatever the case is. So this generation is used to that. So
I agree.
just wanted to throw those shits out there.
You are 100% correct. I have no rebut for
Funny
that.
you
You're
mentioned
right.
those CEUs. I did that for 2 days last week, sitting in front of a computer to the point my eyes were hurting by the end of it, listening to webinars. But anyway, and then, of course, the other bit of news, which Jamie did allude to, was another Supreme Court ruling was the cancellation of President Biden's attempt to relieve our student loan debt, which, I guess Congress felt like he overreached by extending it as long as he had. And so that'll be interesting to see. Unfortunately, there's a Congress that doesn't seem to want to, I'm not going to say cut us some slack, but at least improve, give us an opportunity to spend money in other places. And so some of us who still owe money, they're going to turn on the faucets again. And we're gonna have to find creative ways to pay those student loans. Although I will say to anybody listening, and if you don't know, you should know that if I take this to the grave, if there's anybody that you want to owe the government, because they will take a little bit of money, right? And they won't try to garnish your paycheck. Just give them something. Give the student loan people something. Work a deal out. They just want you to make an honest payment. The other folks, though, they're the ones that want to take you to court and run you through the cycle and other stuff. So trust me, speaking as, I don't know, from my personal experience, it ain't good to owe anybody. But if you're going to owe anybody, owe the government. And because they'll take a little bit from you, they're not going to take everything, at least not in terms of student loans. That's not a pro tip or anything. That's just my observation. I could be off. Jamie, you're shaking your head. You sort of agree. Again, we're not recommending it, but hey, if you had a choice between paying, or who you got to owe, I'd rather have to owe the government than anybody. Just saying. So, all right. So, look, let's take a short break. Come back, get into some more discussion. We're going to start to break down the upcoming college football season, maybe even get into a few headliner news and notes things. I may ask Jamie for a couple of headline notes that he has seen over the course of the last week or two. Something big happened on July 1 for your Aggies, Jamie. So we'll talk about that, see how excited he is, and we'll talk about that and more on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian, AD, and Jamie. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyJESTEAS.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford, Jamie Walker here live in the video version of ourselves, if you're watching us on video, and AD Drew is joining us in audio form. Well, we are on the second day of July, but yesterday, July 1, was a new day for a few athletic programs. Obviously, you know, in the PWI and the Power 5 world, you've got a host of teams that moved to the Big 12, and then another host of teams that moved to the Conference USA, to the American, and then might even have some people that moved. It was like one, you got people moving in, people moving out, more people moving in. Anyway, all that's happening. And then, of course, Jamie, we had a couple of HBCUs join some new conferences. First with don't frown. Put a smile on your face, Jamie.
Don't frown. It's kind of just even right there.
Yeah. You're beloved.
I'm neutral.
Your beloved North Carolina A&T Aggies officially joined the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association, as a full member. I believe last year they were playing in every sport but football, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So, of course,
but go ahead.
Right. From the CAA commissioner, we are pleased to welcome North Carolina A&T as the newest member of the CAA. The Aggies fit perfectly into the framework of the conference's vision that calls for our membership to work together to advance nationally competitive athletic programs, coupled with outstanding academic programs that empower student athletes as whole persons to strive at the highest level in every aspect of their lives. The CAA is excited to add a second HBCU to its membership. So A&T becomes the 14th football member. Of course, Hampton has been in the CAA playing, I think last season, maybe even a season or two ago. So, Jamie, you've seen the schedule. I mean, obviously, you don't have to go too deep into the woods, but just you say you're neutral. General vibe. What's your vibe of? It's time for the Aggies to put up or shut up now that you're in the CAA, right?
It's gonna be tough this year. I'll just put it that way. You're talking about a football conference that has been near the top of FCS, somewhere around, anywhere from 3 to 4. Now, I know they've had some teams that have moved on to Division I. You're talking about the James Madisons and, people of that ilk. So, whether or not the conference is still regarded as, top tier, it is, based on whatever publications you still, look at or whatever, or, judgment that people have. So it is still near the top of the FCS. But this year, I'm just looking at it from a realistic standpoint. I think if you look at other sports they're competing in within the CAA, they finished in the middle of the pack. Track team, of course, is just, phenomenally good. So, they've done well. Basketball, men's and women's has, men's middle to the back of the pack. Women's had an opportunity to win the conference. So I would say so far so good. Football's a different animal, and I think everyone knows that going in. You're talking about William and Mary being at the top of that conference. We grabbed their defensive coordinator, Vincent Brown, who's the new head coach at North Carolina A&T. So far, so good from what I can see of what he's doing with that football team as far as instilling a culture of discipline, a culture of being elite. That is one of their hashtags, elite. He's been around to the, graduate of Mississippi Valley. He's been, the HBCU route. He's coached, professionally. He's coached in Power 5, Group of 5. He's been there, done that. And, here's a little secret. I've talked to a couple of players. They say he was needed.
Okay.
And it's different than it has been. As far as what he brings. He brings a business-like atmosphere there where his coaches coach, and there's an expectation. And so we'll see if that work, along with his recruiting, you can kind of see if that team is turning the corner, because they've been talented over the last few years, clearly.
Yes.
But, the discipline part has been slacking in areas. I know Coach Washington, went to clear that up a lot of this year, but you still saw some pieces. And so going into this new conference, it was felt that a change needed to be made, and we'll see what happens. I expect it'll be tough this year. I think they'll do better than expected, but it'll still be tough. You're talking about playing the likes of teams that have won this conference, some teams that have done well. But I also love what Chancellor Martin, A.D. Hilton, and others, as far as bringing the proper investments of what you need to be successful in the CAA. They're working hand in hand right now. And so I can appreciate that. And I will never say that the CAA is quote unquote better than the MEAC. I'll say it's different. But what I will have appreciated about the CAA is their publicity, their social media. If you look at anything, A&T has been a part of everything that they've done as far as putting out their information. They've been amongst everything when it comes to Campbell and, Hampton, and, because Campbell's the other member that's jumping into CAA football this year as well. And so I can appreciate what they've done on the social media front as far as introducing them and also spotlighting them, especially on Twitter and Instagram. I can't knock anything they're doing. So I can appreciate that as an A&T alum. But we'll see. CAA football is tough. We'll see if our Aggies can step up and do what's needed. But I will beg the fan base to be patient going into it.
The one thing that I loved is that they hired that A&T. You guys hired somebody who's from that ilk, from that conference. I think you go in with versus let's just say if Coach Washington were still there, or if somebody else who didn't know the CAA, didn't know the team, didn't know the coaches, didn't know the coaching styles. I feel like you guys go in with a better. Like, I'll be interested to see where the predictions are for A&T, and if there was a place that I could wager on it, I would take it. I would play above, because I think you guys are in a better spot than, say, somebody who doesn't know. William and Mary. Yes, exactly, Hampton. Well said. Who's still battling uphill, right? Hampton is still battling uphill. If I had to put a wager on who will have a higher finish, A&T or Hampton, I'm actually going to say A&T, because I think you come in with a coach who was successful. William and Mary was successful, right? I think they
Yes.
had what was the former coach from
Mike
Howard?
London.
Mike London was
London.
there. Yeah. So if I had to say, if somebody put, had a dime somewhere and said, hey, who's going to finish better, A&T or Hampton? I'm going to say Hampton, or excuse me, A&T. Excuse me, that's what I'm going to say. Let me ask this, Jamie. Well, first off, how many teams went to the FCS playoffs out of the CAA last year when it was just a 12-team conference?
I want to say 4, if I'm not mistaken.
4. Okay.
It was 3 or 4. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was I'll say 3, but possibly 4. I would have to look, but this is the thing about this in general. When you're talking about that conference, and if the playoffs are your goal, like continuing to try to explain why A&T made the the change per se, Big South and into the CAA, and why they're in the CAA now. I know for some, my boy Josh, says it's a lateral move, which he's entitled. He's entitled to that opinion. I get it.
Sure.
But also, if your goal is the playoffs, that's really all you have to tell people.
Yes.
That is, and that's where the argument stops with me.
Yeah.
If the goal is to go to the playoffs,
and you're in a conference that you'll probably get 3 to 4 bids out of that conference, and so
Absolutely.
for A&T, the goal is, can we get into the top 4? Because if you get in the top 4, the likelihood of you getting to the show, the playoffs, is so ODB and a couple other people said 5 got in, so definitely now. So yeah. You're saying get to be one of the top 4 teams in the conference. Now, I don't know how challenging that's going to be. Again, I'm sure a lot of people tend to rate new teams at the conferences very low. So won't be surprised if I see A&T preseason 9 or 10. But hey, all that does is add motivation, right? I know what you guys will say, right? So yeah, and here's A&T Roy dropping in. So you had William Mary, New Hampshire, who actually got beat by Central last year, Delaware, Richmond, and Elon. A little controversial with Elon, if I recall. But anyway, that's who got in. So
Hey Brian, can I ask Jamie about the elephant in the room with A&T?
Oh, there's an elephant in the room? Go ahead.
Well,
Curious.
with the recommendations that came down from the NCAA this week, and one of the reasons A&T supposedly made this move was to get them prepared to possibly make the move to FBS. So now, giving the new parameters, does the move still resonate on that level with A&T, Jamie?
I think so. I think they would be willing to pay the money to make that jump if it's feasible in the end. I think if the CAA decides to make that as a conference, a move as a conference, yeah, they'll be one of those participants. What I've learned about that conference in general is they think a little different in relation to exposure, in relation to money, in relation to a lot of things. And I learned some of that in talking, because I was able to talk to the commissioner and kind of how they kind of move a little different, especially in basketball, because I think you have a lot of school. That conference is a basketball conference to me. Anyway, it just is. The way their media deal is set up, for example, them being able to have local rights in their basketball, and along with the deal they have with Flow Sports, to be able to stream their games and then pay money to have their games highlighted on CBS Sports Network. So they move a little different. It's not necessarily about the money, but it's more about the exposure, which, it depends on who you are, good, bad, or however. But I think if they decided to make that move up to the FBS, I think, yeah, we would be more than willing. This campaign of 30 to 60 million into the facilities being upgraded, I absolutely think we would be interested in doing the going FBS if it is feasible for the school. And I think absolutely I don't think there's no elephant. If the opportunity presents itself, I'm full. Yes, I am. Yes, I absolutely think that the powers that be would make that decision. No doubt.
Hey, do you agree, Jamie? I'm. This is bold, Jeff Roberts. I don't know why you think when a conference had 5 people get in, I don't know why you think A&T would have to win to get in. Let's just say A&T finishes 3rd. They're not going to leave A&T out. If A&T finishes 3rd, they're not. I mean, I looked at the A&T. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk, Jamie, because I was just looking at the schedule, and the schedule, y'all not playing D2 schools on the schedule. I'm just saying that. So go ahead, Jamie. Your thoughts there to Jeff's comment.
It would be blatant. I'm gonna stop short of saying racism, but that's what it would. To me, that would be a blatant attempt to not put them in the playoffs.
Everybody should be upset. The whole conference should be upset. Like
the whole world should be upset.
You got 5 teams in and a suspect Elon. And this year, if A&T finishes 3rd, I'll go as far again 4th. If A&T finishes 4th, the non-conference schedule, UAB to open the season, correct? North Carolina Central, that's the top team in HBCU football, well respected, Celebration Bowl winner, and Norfolk State. Who knows what Norfolk State might do this year? But I believe that's all your non-conference games right there. Mm-hmm. Come on now, you come on, Jeff. Jeff, you must not be an Aggie. You can't be an Aggie. I don't know if Jeff is an Aggie, but that's kind of odd that Jeff would downplay it like that, man. Come on,
but I
Jeff.
understand based on what they think our schools are. I will point no further than FAMU in getting in the playoffs, because I think full well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think last year it could have been a coin flip in them getting in the playoffs because the same qualifications that you had the year before. But again, when you have, based on the schedule,
balance. When you lose to somebody 59-7, you need to balance that by beating somebody 59-7. And unfortunately, FAMU didn't beat anybody 59-7 late in the season the same way that they got beat by the best team in the conference. So all that told the voters was there's Jackson State and then there's everybody else. That's all that happened. So I'm not. You're not going to hear me complain because I knew we were in trouble anyway from the jump. Okay, so my bad, Jeff. Jeff is Aggie, so class of '92. So you got to be a little more optimistic, Jeff. Man, come on, man. Where's that Aggie pride at that I hear?
Jeff, we're gonna do this, man. Jeff, we are gonna do this.
Come on. Hey, also, new team joining the conference. Bluefield State takes the place of Shawan. Bluefield State, a historically Black college university, although it may not look like it is but regardless, they are now part of the CIAA, and it'll be interesting watching them because they have been competitive. They have really played well in the previous 2 seasons as a D2 independent. And I won't be shocked in the least. Now, they're moving into the Northern Division, and that's historically been tough. I mean, you've got Virginia Union, you got Virginia State, Bowie State. I mean, that's 3 tough games. So right off the bat, but and this year they've got Fayetteville State on the schedule. So everybody who will probably be favored to win the CIAA football is got to play Bluefield State. Now, I'm not saying that Bluefield is going to shock the world, but it'll be interesting to watch them because they have made investments in playing more or building up their programs, and so it'll be interesting to kind of watch them. Drew, any other conference churning new teams entering the space that I might have left off?
Talladega, it begins their transition from NAIA to Division II. They will be an independent this year with their athletic schedule floating between NAIA institutions and Division II institutions.
All right, so that's good to know. Talladega, and then of course, we talk about elephants in the room. Where will Talladega be in a couple of years? A lot of speculation that as an original member of the SIAC, that they will come back home. Of course, those of you who didn't know, Drew writes for D2Football.com as the SIAC reporter. So if anybody's going to have the breaking news about that when it occurs, it'll be none other than our own AD Drew this upcoming season. Speaking of the SIAC, July 1, they get away. They dissolve in, now I think this is just in football, Drew, so jump in and correct me. They dissolve the whole, what was it, East-West or North-South? I forgot.
East-West.
yeah, they got rid of East-West. And so now it's just, top two teams.
Correct.
Top two teams play.
Which
so
brings
it's
some interesting things because you could potentially see some Week 10 and Week 11 matchups for the championship. It's very realistic. Albany State and Fort Valley State could play in the Fountain City Classic the first weekend in November and then play in the SIAC Championship the second weekend. Same thing as Tuskegee and Miles. You've got Clark, Morehouse. All those rival games that are played the last weekend could potentially be matchups less than a week later. But what we don't know is where the SIAC championship game will be played because they were in search of a neutral site venue. That has not been announced as of this point. So we don't, as of right now, we don't know if those are still going to the home stadium of, in this case, the number one seed because they have traditionally rotating east and west, regardless of record in the past, or would they get that neutral site place? We'll probably find out on July 12th, which is SIAC Media Day.
That's right. 10 days away from the SIAC Media Day right up there in Atlanta. And, of course, the SIAC will have their return of their Hall of Fame inductions on the evening of July 11th. And then, of course, the morning, hopefully they don't have to leave at noon. I would hope that, that it's kind of, anyway, don't get me started on this. But anyway.
Last one, Brian. UVI, University of Virgin Islands, officially joins the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. So I believe that will be all of the conference churning that we have going on this year. It hasn't been as exciting as it's been the last 3 years or so, everybody. But we do have some schools that we need to make sure that everybody knows are switching locations.
Well, I'm speaking for me. I'm glad it's not as exciting. I think we need to kind of slow down. Let's work, and I would love to see these schools progress and succeed, not only as a conference in their states, because I think it's good. You've got the CIAA with 12, the SIAC with 13. Potentially going to 14.
15.
Oh my God.
15 total, 13 in football.
Jeez. Okay. Oh. Okay. Wow. Yeah. And that caught me. And then you've got the MEAC with their, what do they call it? Their Elite 8, Power 6. I don't know what kind of acronym. Yeah. And the GCAC. Rising up. I mean, don't sleep. I mean, remember, we were 2 years ago, we thought the GCAC might be the conference to fold up their flag in, but no, they under the leadership of Dr. Kiki Barnes, they have not just stayed alive, but they've thrived. They've added members and found members to add, and got all kinds of wonderful things going on in the world of TV rights, and Man, don't sleep. The GCAC, fun league to cover. Also got to mention.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, how about Tennessee State adding hockey?
That's where I was gonna go. Well, okay.
Right.
Yeah. Before it's funny. Okay, before you mention Tennessee State and hockey, I was going to mention that Tennessee State now plays in a football conference that has 11 members as the OVC and Big South merged. So now you have no longer do you have a small 6 or 7 man football league, but you actually have a legitimate 10 or 11 team league for Tennessee State. That too was effective July 1. And then, of course, transitioning to the news that Drew brought up, that they announced last week during the NHL draft that hockey is coming to Tennessee State as a club sport, presumably in the 2024 year. So that was pretty significant.
Hey, Brian, Jamie, I need y'all to help me out with something. When is the last time that you guys can remember that an institution had a press conference to announce a club sport? I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
Well, look, props to the NHL. Props to the first off, props to the NHL. The timing couldn't have been better because I think wasn't the draft in Nashville? The NHL draft was in Nashville.
I believe so.
Only reason I know that I just happened to be on some social media pages and I stumbled across that. So I was just looking for some validation from one of you guys. But anyway, yeah, they.
Nothing wrong with being a hockey fan, Brian. Nothing wrong with it.
No, I love hockey. Hey, there's not too many things that I won't put a few pizza dollars on. So, Russian ping pongs got a brother through COVID.
Man.
So that's all I'm gonna tell you. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But the Tennessee State, yes, in Nashville. So I love the fact that the NHL was intentional about including them in the sport, and we can poo-poo it. Look, I can question it and kind of say, man, it's disappointing that y'all not bringing back baseball. But hey, you know what? There's no baseball franchise in Nashville. Now, maybe when there is, hint, hint, when they expand and come to Nashville, maybe that'll be the impetus for bringing back baseball to Nashville. But they've got a club sport over at Vanderbilt. Now this will be a club sport at Tennessee State. And who knows? I mean, as somebody sent me, who was it sent me the video that I think it's coming out July 14th, a documentary called Black Ice about the first, I want to make sure I say this right, the first National Hockey Colored Association League. I know I got the name wrong, but anyway, it's about if you do a search for Black Ice documentary. Yes, we were, playing hockey way back in the almost 100 years ago. So there is not the first professional hockey league. Thank you, Roy. Yes, the first professional hockey league was actually a colored hockey league at the time. 1895 is when that league existed. So there's a history that I think it'll be interesting to learn about, and I'll be looking forward to it. I mean, it's the summertime. It's a great time to kind of learn about it, and we'll it'll help with this movement of Tennessee State moving into the world of hockey, and we'll kind of see how they manage. All right. One last thing. I couldn't go without mentioning this. Florida A&M released news at the end of last week that they launched their own digital streaming network called Rattlers Plus. So if you go to I should know the link. I don't know why I don't know it. Yeah, Rattlers Plus easily Rattlers PLUS, FAMUathletics.com/Rattlers Plus. You will get an opportunity to watch some Rattler classics, including the 1979 win over the University of Miami. Some mic'd up segments. There's other features. We're looking forward to hopefully having the SID of Florida A&M on the O&G Strike Zone on Wednesday. And so we'll get to learn more about Rattlers Plus. But it'll be interesting to kind of see how I know there are other schools that have their other, their own networks. I know JSU has a network. There's other entities. The Aggie, the A&T's got their own. They got a network, Jamie, or I want to say I
think
seen
CAA
something.
football, not like that. I know, of course, nah, they don't. They have maybe a secondary deal with something where they do, radio, but nothing huge, nothing significant.
But getting an opportunity to sort of house your own stuff. I mean, you've got years of film that's probably out there that is in other places, in so many places. And so for all of these schools, which we've been saying for years, grab your own stuff. It's yours. It's your university, your school, your student athletes produced the action on the field. That should be yours to house and show. And so, I mean, that's one of the things that'll be real interesting to watch and see how FAMU incorporates. Look, and I will say this and go to break. Take football away, which is what? 11 games, maybe 5 home games, right? Take that away. Think about the other sports and the inventory of home games that you have to broadcast. It's tremendous. It's all there. We are very fortunate to partner with some schools and the SIC that we're bringing that to them. But that opportunity is there for everybody, man. And your fan base should have the opportunity to see student athletes other than just play football, because there's some championship programs in these various sports. All right. Any other news nuggets you want to get out there, you want to talk about, Jamie, before we get into talking about the ultimate road trip? Anything you want to, anything I missed that you want to hit on?
No, not that I know of. Nothing. I think you covered everything significant.
All right. Sounds good. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back, and we'll get into talking about our ultimate road trip. So again, I put it in the chats for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, but I'll reference everybody. If you wanted to get a good look at the entire HBCU schedule, somebody had mentioned that Onedin wasn't putting the schedule out. Well, in fact, they are. You can go to Onedin2.com. That's ONNIDAN.com. And you can see the entire schedule. Matter of fact, I'm going to go one. Well, I posted it earlier. Let me see if I can find it. I put it up here. And I know some of you guys in the YouTube chats, you guys saw it when I put it out there. But it's very simple. Onedin2.com. ONNIDAN, the number 2.com. And then it'll bring you right to the 2023 football schedule. And it's a great aggregate. So yes, a lot of people didn't know that that part of the website is still active, although Onedin.com is no longer, rest in peace to Mr. Moore. But the Onedin 2, the schedule, which a lot of people went to just as frequently as the rest of the site, that is still active. So, all right. With that said, we'll take a break. And we'll go kind of a week by week shout through the schedule and more. So hang in there with us. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Be back in just a moment.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, clean bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford here with Jamie Walker, and joining us on a audio line is AD Drew. Want to encourage you guys who are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, hit the thumbs up button wherever you are watching us. Let us know what you got, any plans for the 4th of July. Anybody doing any barbecuing? I saw a couple people got to go to work on Monday. That sucks. So I guess you didn't plan that out in terms of taking off the schedule, take that day off, but let us know. Love to hear you. Jamie, what day you barbecuing? You barbecuing tomorrow, or you barbecuing Tuesday? What's going on?
Both of them. Nah, let me stop. Probably Tuesday. We'll see. Probably Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Tuesday. I'll be looking for some barbecue in the Central Florida region. So anybody out there in the Orlando, Central Florida region, shoot a brother a text. I won't stay long. I'll just come, say hello to everybody, eat a couple of ribs, and then I'm out the door. I won't hang around. I won't drink up all your Kool-Aid and your beer.
I'll fix it to go plate.
Exactly. There you go. I'll say hi and fix it to go plate. There you go. Yeah. I might need to
clamshells, or your friend.
What?
Clamshells.
What is that?
Cover your own clamshells.
Oh my God.
You can go to Dollar General and get you some get the clamshell lids for about $5 for a pack of about 10 of them. I ain't gonna tell you why I know this, but
all right. Jeremiah Clark with that. Now this is a pro tip right here. Go to work, not work, just like a day off. Get paid. Now see, that's a pro tip right there, Jeremiah Clark. That's a pro tip right there.
Actually, tomorrow's a good day to go to work because everybody else is probably taking the day off. So you go in tomorrow and, like you say, don't do nothing, and it's a vacation without taking 8 hours.
Now, unless you have one of those jobs where you miss not having people, and there are some places like that, you know, everybody can't do that. So, okay, so
I'll be working
again,
for both, so.
Yeah, I know you will. Again, want to refer everybody to onnidan2.com, ONNIDAN, the number 2.com, if you want to see the full schedule week by week. So here's what we're going to do. So this is, again, our ultimate HBCU football roadie, the road trip. So if Jamie were given a bucket of money, Drew giving a bucket of money, if I had a bucket of money and I say, hey, I want to travel from week to week and capture the best HBCU games, I got to put a schedule together. So, you know, again, what we tried to do here was not duplicate any trips to any particular school. And if we ended up with a classic, well, we try to avoid those two teams, you know, throughout the rest of the year. So that way we can see as many teams as possible. We've got a 13-week schedule. So in theory, it should give us 26 different teams to see. Now, when I looked at my schedule, Jamie, I looked at my schedule. I have a mix of SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, SIAC. So I'm covering all 4 conferences. How about you?
I am too. I am covering all 4 conferences. Some come up more than others, but definitely cover them all.
Drew, how does yours break down? I don't, you know, as best as you can tell.
I've covered all of the above, and I'm trying. I was trying to sneak an NAIA game in there, but it's so tough to put an NAIA. You know, we've only got a couple of them to start with that play football,
yes.
And then a couple of NAIA games that I am interested in seeing. That's about 3 other big games that same day. So, you know, I just kind of hard to pick an NAIA school over some of those other schools. But I'm going to keep them in reserve in case y'all take my game, and I may just go to those just for conversation purposes.
Okay. Well, what I did is I put together, I'm not going to read all of them out. Like, I tried to go through each week and look at the best games of each week, but I'm not going to read all of those. So we're just going to stick to our list, and then we'll kind of discuss there. So you guys who are in the chat room and watching, you can follow along. Week 1 is September 2nd. That's Labor Day weekend. So week 1, September 2nd. We'll start with you, Jamie. We'll go around the horn. So we'll go Jamie, Drew, then me, and then we'll just kind of rotate. And then for the week 2, it'll be Drew, me, then Jamie. So that's how we'll do. So Jamie, what's your week 1 game? Where are you going first week of the football season?
My first game, week 1 of football season. I am going to Columbia, South Carolina, sir. I'm going to see those Benedict Tigers take on those Shaw Bears.
Oh, wow. I didn't even have that one on my list. Let me write that down. Okay, why? What attracted you to that? I'm going to write that down. What attracted you to
that? Carolina's classic. I want to see if Benedict is going to be that same squad going in, but this is a SIAC CIAA matchup. So that's what's intriguing. Shaw has been knocking at the door for a few years. And I want to see if they've put together really a good squad to go up against this Benedict squad, who's been formidable over the last couple of years. I want to see if Benedict's still maintaining. So, yeah, that game is most intriguing to me.
And that game is at Benedict, right?
Yes.
Drew, where are you going week 1 of the season?
I am going off of the beaten path. I am going to Dover, Delaware to watch Bowie State take on Delaware State. And my reasoning for this, of all of the D2 versus FCS games, I think this could be the game where you can see the D2 defeat the FCS.
Didn't Bowie beat Delaware State last year? Or who did
No,
Bowie...
not last year. That was 2 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
It was year before. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Man, you guys just picked 2 games that I didn't even consider. I mean, among all the I said I wasn't going to say all these other games, but you guys passed over. I'm just going to tell you what you guys passed over. You passed over the OBC. You passed over the Red Tails Classic, the Brick City Classic, the Labor Day Classic, the Hall of Fame Classic, the Big Cat Classic, Winston-Salem and North Carolina Central, Alabama State at Southern. You passed over all of those games. That just tells you how exciting week 1 is going to be. You guys in the chat room,
I had to pass some of those over, Brian, because I had to save those teams for later on in the season also.
I had a similar strategy. So here's where I'm going. I'm going home first week of the season. I'm going to Notre Dame, Indiana, South Bend, to go watch Tennessee State at Notre Dame, the first HBCU to visit Notre Dame. Historic game. It'll be just if I'm going, it's just my second trip to Notre Dame Stadium in my lifetime. Of course, those of you who know me, I grew up in Indiana, grew up a Notre Dame Irish fan, so that's my PWI team. You know what I'm saying? So, but Tennessee State, my sister is an alum of Tennessee State. She and her girlfriends already got their tickets. They were so smart that they got great hotel rates and everything. So they planned, and so they are going to be at that game. And so that's where I would love to start my season, watching and seeing what kind of team Eddie George is bringing up to South Bend. So that's where she started. Edward asks, what's the Brick City Classic? So the Brick City Classic is Grambling State versus Hampton. That's going to be in Harrison, New Jersey at the Red Bull Arena. I believe that's where the soccer team plays. Mm-hmm. So that's and of course, I mean, just yeah. Well, look, Edwin says it won't be fun. Look, it's not about fun. It's not about fun, Edwin. It's about witnessing history, and I think it is historic. Notre Dame with an African American or African/Korean American coach against an HBCU. I'm there for the history of the moment, and then Notre Dame better cover. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. Let me keep moving. All right, week 2, Drew, you get to start off week 2, which is on September 9th. Week 2. Who do you got, Drew? Who's your game?
I don't know if this is actually still a classic because it's been all over the map and played at different locations, but you got to go to the Battle of the Bay where Hampton and Norfolk visits Hampton this year. This game has been played in Chicago and so all kinds of places, but it's where it needs to be in the Chesapeake Bay area. Norfolk visiting Hampton.
I think it is. I think it is still playing. You know, it's hard to tell because like Hampton and Norfolk, like basketball, they play in so many different places. Like that game is never. It seems like over the last 2 or 3 seasons, that game is never in Norfolk or Hampton or the what they call it, the Hampton Roads area. It is everywhere but. So, yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Interesting to see what year is this year 2? Is this going to be year 2 or 3 for Dawson Odom? Year 2, I think.
No, it's 3. Hold on. No, it's
2.
No, it's
3.
It's
3 because
it's 3.
Had an interim coach 1 year, duly coached last year. So Dawson's been gone for 2 years.
Right. Okay. Okay. So my first game, I'm going to be making my first ever trip to the Bluff, to see Jackson State I don't know where you are, Drew. Sounds like you're out at a farm convention or something. Anyway, my first ever trip to the Bluff.
I'm still in Alabama, man.
That's all we can say. Jackson State is traveling a week after playing Florida A&M and 2 weeks from playing South Carolina State. The toughest first 4 weeks of the season Jackson State is playing, by the way. Hands down. I don't think anybody is playing a tougher first 4. And again, I'm still looking at odds. I want to know, what are the odds of I'm not betting it. I wonder what the odds of Jackson State going 0-3 or 0-4 would be. Would it be plus 300, plus 400? What? But anyway, because Jackson State fans don't think they're going 0-3 and 0-4, but they may go into this game at Southern 0-2. Okay? But this is the game that was going to be in, remember this game was going to be in Birmingham before lawsuits happened and sponsors, and it all fell apart. It crumbled. So now this game returned to be in a home versus home. It's a non-conference SWAC game. The good old boom box, as they called it, which used to be historically in November. Being played this early in the season is quite intriguing to me, and it'll be my first time at Southern. So this is where I'm going for week 2. How about you, Jamie? Where are you going for week number 2?
Did you even ask me that question?
I had to ask.
First of all, we gonna get this revenge against those chickens in Durham, North Carolina. They are coming to East Greensboro in the second week. They are coming to East Greensboro to get mollywopped by 40 as my North Carolina A&T Aggies defeat the North Carolina Central Eagles. So I will be at the Aggie Eagle Classic in Greensboro. Yes.
I thought this game was at Central. You guys are hosting this one?
No, I think it's at A&T. I think it's in Greensboro. In fact,
so
that's what I've been reading.
So the thing in Charlotte was just a 1-year thing, right?
No, they got another year, I think, but it's not until I think 27 is when the Dukes Mayo Classic goes again. It's still the Aggie Eagle, but it's not in Charlotte again until the 2027.
It's like once every 5 years or something like that. Both teams get 2 home and homes, and then it goes back to Charlotte. And I think that's how they did their agreement.
So the 33,000 plus that was there. Obviously, I mean, the stadium only fits about 20 something. Will it? It's usually always a packed crowd, correct? Always a sold out event. Okay. All right. So it'll be a sold out event. Okay. All right. So hey, I'm okay. That's good. I had both of those games on the schedule, so I see we're on brand. I love the fact that we're picking different games here. All right. Let's see if we can keep that going or how long that lasts. All right. Week number 3, September 16th. I'm starting this off. I am going to the reservation. I'm going to another historic SWAC site that I've never been to. I'm going to hang out with my good friend
Charles.
Charles Edmond. Charles Edmond. I got enough Charleses on my brain, so I didn't want to say his last name. That's why I paused. I was like, why can't I think of Charles's last name? But anyway,
don't forget friend of the show, Kelvin Carter, also.
Okay. Yes. Yep. McNeese State at Alcorn. The Braves won this contest last year, but it was at McNeese State. And that, of course, ended McNeese's long run of beating SWAC teams. And Alcorn had a win in their hands against an FCS or a non-HBCU FCS opponent last year at home, but they kind of they blew it. I think that was Stephen F. Austin, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this year I'm looking forward to going to the reservation and seeing what it's like in this contest. Would love to continue to see an HBCU defeat a non-HBCU FCS opponent, especially a SWAC school. So that's where I'm going. Jamie, where are you going week number 3?
Man, I got to go to the shed. Tuskegee versus Central State. It was a game I called last year in Montgomery for the SIAC that was more exciting than probably it should have been. Central State is a much improved team. I expect them to be even more improved, but I want to see those upgrades down at the shed. I got to go to the Cleve Abbott Memorial Stadium because I've never been, man. So I got to go down there and experience that, man. So Tuskegee versus Central State at Tuskegee, I got to go.
Field turf. Will the lights be up, Drew? Are they? Will that be a day game or a night game?
Oh, will the hoopy what?
All right. Let's see. Drew, where are you going?
Man, I got to go to, I believe I need to catch this flight to NYC to watch Albany State and Morehouse play each other. I've been to New York a couple of times, but obviously I've never been to the football stadium or old Giant Stadium at that point. So to get to go to East Rutherford, to MetLife Stadium to watch the Golden Rams and the Maroon Tigers, that would be where I would go. But can I throw in a bonus one?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Bonus one, yeah.
Because it was tough to pick that one because that should be a decent game. But I almost snuck in my NAIA school with Florida Memorial and Grambling State. Florida Memorial expected to be much improved, and Hugh Jackson in a season where he's got to show some type of serious improvement with Grambling State, and those in attendance at that game, there's going to be people, if they don't beat Florida Memorial by 60, there's going to be some people upset. So just seeing that dynamic of that would be interesting. So definitely want to see. Definitely that was my B game of that particular week, especially when you consider Grambling will have played Hampton and LSU, so that should be a get right game for Grambling. So if they win but they don't get right that game, you're gonna hear some chatter in rural Louisiana.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm surprised none of you picked this one, Mary 305. I was thinking about this one, the good old Howard versus Hampton game, the battle for the real HU, which has quietly been owned, by Hampton. Hampton owns it. So it's like, this is the game that I call Howard versus Hampton, because only one school has the H, and that's Hampton.
When that game becomes competitive, Brian, I'll think about that one again.
Yes, this game is going to be in DC at Audi Field, but again, it is Howard, silent H, no H, versus Hampton, because when these two meet, The only H is running right there with Hampton because they have owned this series of late. So yeah. Yes, and Edwin Moore, I will break out my. Well, no, I have a PV purple shirt, so I don't have any Alcorn gear, but I'm sure I could find some. I could find some. I'm sure. Out of respect for my good friend Charles Edmond, I might wear some Braves gear. So, okay, let's see. Let's see. Edwin Moore says Florida Memorial must be for the bands. If you think Florida Memorial's band is traveling, then you got another thing coming, Edwin. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. Yes, I'll take gear. Swacking a fool. Please make sure it's 3X. Big fella, accessible, please. Don't send me no tight stuff that I will never get into. Thank you. Yeah, don't send me no medium gear. 3X, please. 3X. I'm trying to get down over this month. Okay, let's go to week number 4 here. So hopefully you guys are hanging around with us here. Week number 4 is September 23rd. Jamie, you started off this week. Week number 4. What do you got?
Oh, I'm probably snatching your game. I'm probably snatching y'all game. However, I gotta go because it was such a great game last year that I want to see this one. FAMU versus Alabama State. FAMU versus Alabama State. I want to see this one. Came down to the wire last year in Montgomery. I want to see what happens. Yeah, I want to see what occurs at Bragg.
Yes, we'll play. We will. You know what they call Alabama. They call it Alabama, right? Because we own that state up there, Jamie. So whenever we play the Hornets and the Bulldogs, we own that state. So it'll be Bama State versus FAMU. Anyway, it should be an interesting game. Drew, what do you got?
I am once again going off the beaten path. I want to go to. I want to see Allen and Central State. I hope that my good buddy as the athletic director at Allen University, Jasher Cox, invites me into his suite when I picked that game. But Allen arguably could have quietly one of the better quarterbacks in the SIAC this year. So, I would just have the opportunity to see how good this young man is. His name escapes me right now. I'm having a brain fart right now. But they did have a great quarterback coming back.
Yes. Yeah. Allen
David
did.
Wright.
David Wright.
Thank you, David Wright.
Name. Yep.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah. So that game is going to be at Allen. Now, I mean, Allen doesn't have its own.
State.
Oh, it's at Central State.
Yes, at Central State.
Okay. And I know Central. Okay, so I was just wondering. I'm like, I thought, does Allen have a home field? They still kind of playing somebody else's field, but okay.
I think they're still playing. Yeah, Westwood High School. They're still playing. Playing there for right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good pick. Obviously, some other selections of games going on. You got Texas Southern at Grambling State, PV at Alcorn. That's going to be a huge game. Now, preview. I took McNeese State that game because I couldn't go to this PV at Alcorn game. I couldn't go to that game. But I'm going to a CIAA North versus South matchup, a game that should have been the 2022 championship game. Fayetteville State is traveling to Virginia Union. I want to be there to see the smoke because I'll tell you what, Fayetteville State has really benefited, I feel like, over the last few years from really not having to play the best teams from the North. That's just how this schedule worked out, right? No avoiding it this year. They're playing a Virginia Union team, and both teams will be favored and predicted to finish 1-2. I think that's just a prediction. And so this, who knows, could this be a preview of the 23 championship. Who knows? But I think week 4 is still early enough. I think it's going to be a good matchup. Fayetteville State at Virginia Union is where I'm looking to go. Hovey Field, I think, is the name of the stadium. So, all righty. Let's see. Anybody else? Oh, yeah. You know what? Thank you, Chuck, for reminding me. I think is that the weekend of the Circle City, or is it the next weekend? No, he's talking about something else. Chuck, no, this is let's see, Mary 305. She's going to be at Alcorn PV. Edward says he might check out the Coastal City HBCU Classic in Brunswick. That's Savannah State versus Albany State. So that's the first time inaugural game, Brunswick, Georgia. That's interesting. Coastal City Classic. Okay. Let's see. Edwin says PV versus Alcorn should be a headbanger of the purple people. There you go. All right, moving to September 30th, the 5th Saturday of the month of September. And it also does feature our first homecoming game that particular week. So let's hear from you, Drew. I think you get a lead off week number 5.
And I got a problem with one particular team playing their homecoming on September 30th, and that's because they're playing their homecoming against one of my alma maters. So I want to see the 4-0 at that point in time Tuskegee Golden Tigers versus at that time the 2-2, if they lucky, Alabama A&M Bulldogs in the Rocket City go in and spoil their homecoming, and I get to hang out with Bo Carter. What more can I ask for?
Hey, Karen Griffin is right there with you. She's going to that game. Look, if you look at Alabama A&M's schedule, okay, and they really didn't have a choice but to make this game their homecoming, in my opinion, okay, because after that Tuskegee game, they don't have a home game in the month of October. They play 2 neutral site games, including the Magic City Classic, and they have a bye week. Then they come out of that with 2 out of the last 3 games at home against Florida A&M and the end of the season against Valley. Now, I don't know about you. I don't want to play, if I'm Alabama A&M, I don't want to play FAMU for homecoming. Although that might bring a good crowd, I don't want to play them for homecoming. You probably could have played Valley, but then again, that's the end of the season. You know, sometimes people feel kind of adding Valley. That's November 18th. It's a week before. I think we talked about this last week. It's the week before Thanksgiving. You know, you probably don't want to play. So they were really stuck in a hard spot because they have 3 of the 5 weeks Alabama A&M has home games. So they're really kind of caught in a tough spot because of the scheduling to play Tuskegee when they got it. So, yeah, you know, but, yeah, we'll see how that works out. Norfolk State at A&T. Is that that particular weekend? Mary says she's got Norfolk State at A&T. I'm assuming that's week number 5, Mary, because that's where we're at right now. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And matter of fact, I'm gonna be right there with you, Mary. I'm gonna look for you when I go because I have it on my schedule. Now, A&T has. You know what the winning streak on this game is, hey, Jamie? I'm gonna quiz you.
I don't know the streak, but it's gotta be
over or under 5. Over or under 5.
I'm gonna say over.
Yes, it is. It's 7.
Yeah.
7. Yeah, A&T has beaten Norfolk State the last 7 times. Doesn't matter where you play them, you've been beating them up. But you know, if Dawson Odoms again, is he gonna get right? This is a good opportunity against A&T. So this is one of the 3 non-conference games for A&T. Jamie, who's your game?
This is the 30th, correct? and this is gonna surprise you.
End of September.
Yes. I tell you what, man. I've been waiting on their first win since their inception. And depending on the possibility, they may get it. I am going to Dover, Delaware for Dale State versus Virginia Lynchburg. I'm going to Dover, and it may just happen. We'll see. They're getting their quarterback. Hey, Virginia Lynchburg getting their quarterback back. Was injured at the end of last year. Dale State, I have no earthly idea what's going on with them. And you know, Bowie State almost beat them a couple of years ago. Virginia Lynchburg and Coach Newman is putting together, a special group. They got some people in some skill positions that I like. So I want to see what's gonna happen there. So Dale State versus Virginia Lynchburg. That's where I'm going.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, got you down for that. Of course, some other games happening that week. How about Bluefield State's first home CIAA game against Fayetteville State is happening that particular week. Campbell at North Carolina Central. Ooh, that's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be a big one. Don't you guys play Campbell? Obviously, you play Campbell because that's conference. Okay, and then the State Fair Classic. Prairie View and Grambling. I think that game kind of fluctuates in terms of who controls that series. I think Prairie View has won the last 3 or 4, something like that. So eventually when Grambling decides to start winning, they'll probably get a run going themselves. So, all right, let's do this. We've gone through the first 5 weeks. We're going to take a break, and we're going to start in the month of October. So, again, if you guys want to follow along with us, if you want to start looking at the schedule, go to onnidan2.com, ONNIDAN, the number 2.com. Take a look at the schedules. We're moving into the week number 6 schedule, 4 weeks in the month of October. So that's what we're going to talk about here on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford and Jamie Walker here on video, and AD Drew joining us online here. Drew, I had muted your mic earlier because it sounded like you were drag racing somebody without a muffler earlier. So I'm telling you, boy, y'all folks in Alabama, y'all keep it real out there.
Muffler optional at Alabama, Brian.
Muffler optional. Love it. Love it. Hey, want to remind you guys, you can check out all of the shows that are part of the BCSN on the BCSN Pod Zone. All of our shows, podcast format on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google Podcasts. All we ask is that you go download, rate, share, review. All of that stuff helps the algorithms. You can hear, for example, if you missed yesterday's Carlos Brown show, he had an interview with SWAC legend Willie Satellite Totten. That was a real good interview. So if you missed that, I want to encourage you to go check that out, the Carlos Brown show, every Saturday. Also, Dr. Cavill is inside the HBCU Sports Lab every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. And then Wednesday nights, find out what the Rattlers are talking about, the ONG Strike Zone, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. But all of those shows are available on the BCSN Pod Zone. Going back through the chat room here, Edwin Moore says the State Fair Classic will be fun as long as you don't sit on the real hot side. Well, but isn't that game played at night, though? Isn't that game usually played at night? Is there really a hot side and that game is played at night? Just asking. All righty. Let's see. We're moving into October, and it's homecoming season. At this point, there's only been one homecoming, but now we're starting to move into the month of homecoming games and classics. Who starts this off? Is it me or Jamie? Let me see. I think it's you.
It might be Drew, actually. Hold on.
Could be you, Brian.
Oh, it's me.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, 3. So I'm starting this one off. Okay, so again, this is October 7th. October 7th, week number 6. I'm going to one of the oldest classics, but in a new home this year. I'm going to the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic. Again, Morehouse and Tuskegee this year in Birmingham, Alabama, 7 p.m. Traditionally, it's been in Columbus. Is that correct, Drew? Columbus, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's moved.
Yes, in Columbus for over 80 years.
Yes, 80 years. And so this is the first year it's in a new site, new location. And so that's Morehouse and Tuskegee. That's where I will be. So looking forward to seeing that classic for the first time. Jamie, who you got? Where you going?
Man, you know what? I've already named FAMU in a game, and one of their games is going to be intriguing. But I'm going to go with this one: Kennesaw State versus Tennessee State. Kennesaw State making that move to FBS. Tennessee State has talked about wanting to be there one day. We'll see what a good comparison is. So, yeah, at Kennesaw. So, Kennesaw State versus Tennessee State.
Okay. And that's one of those games where it's in northern Atlanta. So, will the Tennessee State fan base show up? Will they take the road trip? What is it, about 20 minutes north of downtown Atlanta?
Yep.
Maybe more on a heavy traffic day. But yeah, that'll be.
Brian, is either going to be 20 minutes or an hour and a half.
Right. I gotcha. All right, that's a good choice there. Okay, Drew, what do you got? If you're able to pull yourself off mute, where are you going for that particular weekend? We might have lost Drew. I know his connection's still there. His mic, he might just have maybe had another call. I see Karen Griffin. She said, yes, she's going to the Bluff that weekend. FAMU at Southern.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a tough one. Drew, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back with you now. I think because that was my pick for the week. going straight down I-10 to hang out with say again.
No, we didn't hear where you were going. Say that again for us.
And our buddy Carlos Brown for the FAMU Southern game. So the only thing I want to know is if are the 100 coming with me?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's they should. Actually, the 100 went last year, 2 years ago. The 100 did show up 2 years ago. I think there are certain rivalries that FAMU will travel to. I think they will travel to the Southern game. Now, I'm just talking in general about the FAMU schedule. The question mark game for the 100 on the road will be, will they travel to Houston against Texas Southern, against the Ocean of Soul, a very underrated band program, band team, band squad, marching band, excuse me. Like I can't think of it. Anyway, the Ocean of Soul, very, very good, especially in the stands. The stand band, they're very good. So be interesting to see whether the 100 travels to Texas for that particular game. Okay, so Drew, you're going to be down there in the Bluff that particular weekend. So good stuff, good stuff. All right, Jamie, we go to October 14th, week number 7. Now also take into account there is a Thursday game that particular week. So we want to include any Thursday game that qualifies. It is open to attend. And I'll say this, Jamie, if you attend a Thursday game, you can go to another location on Saturday. So I just want to throw that out to you. Go ahead.
Well,
so where are we going week number 7?
You know what, man? This was hard because there's a couple of different games, man. There's the Brainiac Bowl going on. But I'm going.
I know what game you're talking about. I know what he said that. I know which game you're talking about.
Please define, Jamie. Please define.
that Howard Harvard game. Curious about.
I wonder if Harvard's going to let us bring our people in there because of their affirmative action. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Jamie.
Too soon. Too soon.
Man, too soon. But you know what, man? I want to see. After having an off year, can Coach Kyle Jackson get everything back in the row? So I want to see Jada Byers versus Bowie State. So Virginia Union versus Bowie State. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, that's a good game. That was on my. I had eyes. I was looking at that one, and then I saw the other Virginia Union game that I chose. But that's hey, look. Remember last year we talked about how Virginia Union had all these tough opponents on the road last year. Guess what? This year, Union gets those games at home. Mm-hmm. So, hey, advantage to Virginia Union this year. That's why I don't have a vote, but if I had a vote, I'd be picking them to finish first in the North. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's see. Drew, who do you got? Week number 7, October 14th.
I am going to take that Thursday night game, Brian, and go to Fort Valley, Georgia, to watch Benedict travel to play the Wildcats, in which some people may argue may be a preview of the SIAC championship game. And the other reason I have to take that Thursday game is so that I can have a opportunity to see a real game, because I don't know what I am going to get when I take my Saturday game, in which Virginia Lynchburg plays at home against Fort Lauderdale. Who had the over in Virginia Lynchburg references to games during this segment? Who had the over 1.5?
Whoever they were, they're cashing and they're rubbing their hands like, thank you, guys.
But yeah, those that's my Thursday game and my Saturday game. Virginia Lynchburg playing at home for the first time probably since I've been covering HBCU football at this level.
All right, and just to clarify, the Thursday night game is Fort Valley at Benedict, so it's at Benedict. So just to clarify, I don't want you to go to the wrong location for that game, because I'm gonna be right there with you at Benedict that weekend, because I too have that game circled to go see the two teams that I think will be favored 1 and 2 at the SIC Media Day. I think Fort Valley State and Benedict will be favored 1 and 2, and so that might be a early SIC championship preview, or it'll put somebody in the driver's seat to get to the championship game, in my opinion. So I'm with you on that. I am not going to go to any of the Saturday locations. There are a couple of homecomings that weekend. Jackson State homecoming, they're hosting Alabama State. Tennessee State's homecomings that weekend, they're hosting Norfolk State. And Alabama A&M's homecoming is that weekend, they're hosting Grambling State. And so, yeah, the Howard at Harvard game is also happening that weekend. So that is for you folks up in the Northeast, you Howard alums, you better show up for that, because so you can brag about, we are the well. Anyway, what did they say? Howard is the Harvard of HBCUs or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. Something like that.
Whatever subtle, non-complimentary statement they made, but whatever. Be a good chance to put the beat down on Harvard, who has a pretty good squad. Apparently, by all prognosticators in the FCS, Harvard has a pretty good squad. So that'll be a good game. Should be. Okay. Week number 8, October 21st is where we are. Now, again, we've got Thursday games, which lead off the week going into Saturday. So, Drew, you get to lead this one off. Where are you going? October 21st, week number 8.
October 21st. I am going to watch Oregon State and North Carolina Central on that Thursday night that you were talking about, Brian.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, that's going to be the game probably the game of the week. And once again, that is one of those games where it could be that 1 versus 2 in the BAC. So after going to that particular game, I lost my place. Give me just a second, y'all.
That's all right. Well, you're putting that out there. Let's see. Karen Griffin's going to be right there with you. She's going to be at that matchup, Morgan and Central. Mary 305's got Benedict versus Kentucky State. That's where she's going.
Good game.
My Saturday game is going to be Bluefield State hosting. Virginia State hosting Bluefield State.
No, it's no. It's Bowie
Virginia State's at home.
Yeah, no. If you want Bluefield State, it's Bowie at Bluefield.
All right. I'm looking at the wrong week. I'm sorry there.
That's all right.
Because the state is moving.
I would tip my hand. I thought we were gonna. I was just gonna ride. I thought we were gonna ride together that weekend. But anyway. You want me to read some games out, or are you still looking? We've got Savannah State's homecoming. They're hosting Tuskegee. Howard is hosting Norfolk State that weekend. Bethune and Southern are playing in Jacksonville at the stadium that the Jaguars place, or the Jacksonville Jaguars. So second year in a row that the city of Jacksonville has gotten behind hosting a SWAC game for Bethune-Cookman. Go ahead.
Keep going.
Oh, FAMU is traveling to Houston, take on Texas Southern, and A&T is hosting Richmond. I think that's a pretty important game. You know, historically, Richmond, one of those teams that went to the playoffs last year.
Since I have not been to too many CIAA games, how about Shaw Fayetteville State?
Shaw Fayetteville State. Okay, where's that game at?
You're asking me too many questions, Brian. You're asking me too many questions.
That's all right. That's all right.
They games at Fayetteville. The game's at Shaw. I'm sorry. The game's at Shaw.
All right. Fayetteville State at Shaw. You know, I'm doing multiple things here, so Fayetteville State at Shaw. You know, again, that's one of those games where we've been hinting at Shaw being one of those teams, right? Well, the problem is they haven't been able to get by their nemesis in the South, Fayetteville State. So there's a good CIAA South matchup that you're attending there. Yeah, and of course, everyone, Drew is being safe on the road. He just happens to be mobile, but yes, he's being safe on the road. So he has a hand. Hopefully, if he is driving, he has a hands-free device. So we thank you for everybody who's listening right now. You guys, you know, we appreciate you guys. And so, Jamie, well, I think it's me. So I already kind of tipped my hand. I'm going to the Thursday matchup, Central at Morgan State. I want to see it. Damon Wilson have Morgan State ready for this matchup. Can they knock off the champ? I want to see.
Can they avenge that bloodbath last year?
Yeah, what was the score?
Because it was like ugly.
50, was that 50 something to single digit?
Yeah, it was ugly. It was ugly.
Yeah. So, yes, that's going to be pretty bad. And then on Saturday, I'm gonna head over to West Virginia. Since I'm already up there in the Northeast, I'm gonna drive over to West Virginia and check out Bowie State at Bluefield State. My first opportunity to go see Bluefield State, see what Bowie looks like. That should be a good CIAA North matchup. So, all right, Jamie, what do you got?
Man, on the 21st, I am curious to see, old FAMU Rattler taking over at Albany State versus Edward Waters. I want to see those athletes on the field, and I want to see Albany State chuck it all around the field. So yeah, Albany State versus Edward Waters. That's what I'm looking at on Saturday.
Where's that game going to be at? Where's that game? Is that up in Albany?
I think it's at Albany. Yeah, I think it's in Albany. One of the more underrated venues in the SIAC, man.
No, actually, that game is now.
Oh, it's at Edward Waters. It's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's at Edward Waters. It's in Jacksonville. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So well, cool. I've never been to that stadium yet. So yeah. Let me.
And I think that might be. Well, let's see. Edward Waters' stadium has only been on campus has only been there now 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be Albany State's first trip there, if I'm not mistaken. So, and of course, Quinn Gray played for the Jaguars, so Jacksonville Jaguars there. So that's a good pick. Okay, so let me make sure I write that down. Albany State at Edward Waters. See what the chat room says. You guys like out there? I see a couple of people.
Yeah, what are they talking about? Where is everybody going in the chat?
Let's see. Edwin got here. You know, Edwin, if I did go to that game, yes, I would definitely be leaning on Dr. Cavill to host that game I know he will be in the house.
Yes, yes.
I'll be looking to hang out in the suites with Dr. Cavill. I know that's where he be hanging. Him and Deuce be hanging out in the suites. So I want to be where they at.
For real.
Let's see what else we got out there. Edwin says it'll be a blowout. Let's see, UAPB homecoming that weekend, huh? Okay, I did not check that out. I don't have UAPB on my schedule, but hey, if they're going, I'm assuming that's the Alcorn State Braves that you're saying they're gonna defeat. All righty, so let's move into week number 9. October 28th. Well, look, this is one of the granddaddy of them alls. It's on the calendar. Everyone in the state of Alabama knows I have never attended, so I will be at the Magic City Classic in Birmingham. Alabama State versus Alabama A&M. And that's me forsaking homecoming, Jamie. I am forsaking FAMU homecoming to go to the Magic City Classic. That's how much that game means to me. So that's where I'm going to be October 28th. There is a Thursday game too. South Carolina State at North Carolina Central, but given the fact that I went to the 2 previous Thursdays, I need to save my energy for the Magic City Classic because I heard they do some great tailgating, and I need to save as much energy as I can. So there we go. Where are you at?
This is what, the 28th. Man, you know what? Doggone it. I made a mistake and picked a duplicate squad. But I know, let's put it this way. I know where I want to go.
All right.
I know where I want to go. And I think Drew has an idea as well. Because somebody is returning to Alabama. Somebody is returning to Tuskegee.
That will be Coach Willie Slater.
Yes, it will. And if it was anything like it was...
I didn't have that game on the schedule. Okay, I need to write that down. I need to write that down. Okay.
Yes, somebody's returning to the shed, and I want to see that game. But I'm going to let Drew run it with. That's the game I picked, but that's a duplicate game. I've already been to the shed once in my tour. But, yes, I want to see that game. Clark, Atlanta, Tuskegee.
That'll be your honorable mention.
Yes, that'll be my honorable mention.
All right, Drew, is that true? In fact, or are you going back home? Do you want to see Coach Slater his first return to Tuskegee? What would a reception be like?
I would hope that the reception would be Willie Slater would be very well received in Tuskegee. He is the second winningest coach in Tuskegee history. If they don't give him a standing ovation when they announce his name before the game, I would be highly disappointed because the Tuskegee fans have class, and that's the one way to show class. Even though a lot of people say he wore out his welcome and it was time for him to go, what he did for those 15 years at Tuskegee, yeah, he deserves a standing ovation.
And y'all got a new scoreboard, video screen. They better have a video montage. I want to.
Everything that he wanted, they did after he left.
Yes, y'all. You guys better put a video together. Thank you, Coach Slater, the second winningest coach into. Y'all better see a video presentation for a 1-minute video package. I want to see tears. Anyway, was that your game, or did you have another game? Where you going?
Was that me?
Yeah, you.
No, I am going off the beaten path. I have not seen the school where I almost went to college at, that being Tennessee State. And since they will be as close to my hometown playing Lindenwood, well, Lindenwood travels to Tennessee State, but I want to see Lindenwood, a Division II program, moving up to the FCS level against Tennessee State. Plus, I'd have picked everybody else I wanted to see that particular week. So that's the only game I had left.
See, I see now. And Jamie, tell me if you did this, because this is what I did. I started with the games that I had to go to. And so there were like 5 games that I had to go to. And then based on those, I picked games around trying to avoid those teams and locations.
Yes. Because next week is gonna pain me. Yeah, it's gonna hurt me deep next week.
Week number 10 is what you're referring to?
Yeah, yes, it is. It's
all
gonna
right,
hurt
so
me.
we get into the final 3 weeks of the season. Let's keep it here. Let's not go to break. Let's kind of keep it here as we get into the month of November here. Week number 10, November 4th. You lead it off, Jamie. What do you got?
Oh boy, this is horrible. This is terrible right here. I am
Big
going
games.
to miss. I'm gonna miss Jericho. Gonna miss the greatest homecoming on earth. As my Aggies play Towson, because I've already picked my Aggies to beat them chickens. But for football purposes, I'm actually gonna enjoy this game. As the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats take on Mississippi Valley in a very tense couple of games since Bethune-Cookman has joined the SWAC. It's been kind of intense, so I'm gonna go to this game and see what the fuss is about. Last year we talked about how bright the grass was in Valley.
We did. That's funny you brought that up. I recall that exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So this year we go see what's going on in Daytona.
Oh man, that is funny. That's funny. Well, it'll be field turf. I'll tell you that. And that's a Thursday game. That is a Thursday game. So Valley travels to Bethune on Thursday. Yes. So it does leave you room, Jamie.
Oh, I can. Hey, from Daytona to Greensboro. Okay, cool. I can make the game. That's what's up.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Drew, what do you got?
And I'm like everybody else, the games I want to see, I pick either one team or both teams, like Virginia Union, Virginia State. I've already picked Virginia State. I don't know how I did not get Virginia Union on my list this year. Winston-Salem, Fayetteville State. Already got Fayetteville State on my list for this year. Shaw St. Augustine. Already got Shaw on my list for this particular week. So this was the toughest week because of the other games that I wanted to see. So
this is a heck of a list of games.
Yes, it is.
Particular weekend. Of course, it's the last week of regular season games in the SIAC and the CIAA.
Yeah. So I am almost stuck, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, with Livingstone versus Johnson C. Smith.
Okay. Well, I mean, look.
I like it.
The first two in that. What is the historical significance? In that the first two HBCU football programs, is that where that historical significance of that game, right?
Yes, I think that was the first HBCU game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Biddle College. Then.
What did you say?
Biddle College. I think Livingstone was it, or Johnson. One of them. Yeah.
I was going to invite you to go check out Savannah State at Lane, which, for me, this was the game. There were so many other games that I had to move around because of, like you said, other commitments I'd made that I found myself, oh, you know what? I can go check out Savannah State and Lane. Now, who knows? These are two teams that could be in the hunt. Maybe they're vying for third, fourth place at worst or best. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't had a chance. I wouldn't have an opportunity to go see either of those schools except for this particular opportunity. So that's where I'll be to see them. But yes, there are plenty of other good matchups. So of course, as Mary 305 points out, you got Jackson State and Tennessee State at Texas Southern, excuse me. So Texas Southern's at Jackson State. You got the Fountain City Classic between Albany State and Fort Valley State happening. Yeah, Jamie, Edwin kind of believes with you that BCU Valley game, there's going to be some scores put up there. Let's see. Other games of interest, you got the Port City Classic in Mobile, Alabama. Grambling versus Alabama State. How about Southern and Alcorn playing that weekend? Southern's at Alcorn State. Definitely. Livingstone College, the first HBCU to play football. So, Drew, sometimes you got to go with a historical location when all else fails. All right, but here, Drew, you get a lead off week number 11. Now, this week number 11 is on November 11th. See the symmetry there? Week 11, 11, 11. It's also the weekend of the SIAC and the CIAA championships. We don't know where the SIAC will be played. We do know the CIAA will be in Salem, Virginia. So, Drew, where are you going week number 11?
Brian, I am going to pull off, hopefully, the impossible. Because I don't know what time this game starts, but I have confidence that this game is going to be a night game. That is going to be Hampton and William and Mary. The reason I am going to Hampton and William and Mary for that night game is so that I can go watch the CIAA championship that afternoon.
Okay. So you're gonna try to do the 2 games and what? Didn't you do this before? You did this last year.
I did 3 games in one day before the pandemic.
I remember that.
But I went to a Howard game, a Morgan State game, and a Bowie State game, all in the same day.
Road Warrior, Drew, AD Drew, ladies and gentlemen. So again, that is okay. That's William and Mary at Hampton. So that's in Hampton has lights. Does anyone know Hampton has lights? I think they have lights. I remember a night game at Hampton before.
I believe
way back
so.
in the day, though.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that's a 7 o'clock start. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know, Drew. You might be out of gas.
Okay.
Well, hey. All right. We'll put it down as that's your game, just in case. We won't count the championship game. So, okay. My turn. I'm going to Green Stadium in D.C. between a game that could very well be for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, North Carolina Central traveling to Howard. It's going to be cold that weekend, so that I'm not looking forward to. But I got a feeling we're going to see some good football that weekend as the co-champs of last year, that's right, the co-champs of 2022 will do battle, and hopefully only one team will come out with the title after this particular contest. So I will be in D.C. that weekend. Jamie, where will you be?
Man, you know what? I will be in a place that's near and dear to my heart. Know some really good people there. Shout out AD Can Campbell. A couple other people I know there. But I want to see if Corey Fields is all the way back for the South Carolina State Bulldogs as they host Morgan State. I want to see this matchup. I think it'll be a good football matchup in general because second year, of course, of Damon Wilson being at Morgan State program and in South Carolina, who's been really quiet, which spells trouble for a lot of MEAC opponents. I want to see if they're all the way back. So that's where I'm going. going to Orangeburg, not too far away from the house.
There you go. Also that weekend, you've got Prairie View at Southern, another highlight game. Let's see, where are you guys going? Walter answered the question, Drew. Hampton does have lights. They've had lights for years. I thought they did. So you might get lucky. You might get lucky and get a night game, although I think you have to look into the history of Hampton games and kind of see, does Hampton normally schedule night games?
Especially in November.
Especially in November, right. Let's see. So Edwin's got, yep. Texas Southern, Jackson State, Southern Alcorn. Just mentioned that. Interesting. Mary 305, Florida Memorial versus Kaiser. Interesting. Huh? Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good. Pretty good. CIAA championships. Well, haven't they normally been in the evenings or at least late afternoon?
Yeah, it all depends on the TV contract.
Yes. Good old TV. Yes. So there you go.
But I'll gladly take a flip that the Hampton game kicked off at about noon or 1 and an evening CIAA championship.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward. Week number 12. Final 2 weeks of the regular season. Now, at this point, the Division II teams were moving into the playoffs. So the CIAA, SIC champions are moving into the playoffs. So we can't pick those games. That leaves us with Division I games in the final 2 weeks of the season. Week number 12, November 18th. There's only one place that I would rather be this particular weekend, and that is in my backyard watching us skin some cats, beat down on Bethune-Cookman, and claiming our SWAC championship on the biggest stage of them all. So I will be at the Florida Classic, Florida A&M versus Bethune-Cookman in Orlando, Florida. Book it. I will be there. Jamie, where are you going?
You know what, man? I've had the opportunity to experience the last couple of years being at the vet. So I think I'm going back for the Soul Bowl. Yeah. Jackson State versus Alcorn. That's where I'm going. I've heard my man I've heard my man Ken Clark, a couple other people, talk about this rivalry, man. Hey, listen, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going that last week.
Yeah, and as let me get you back in here. As Edwin, we lost Drew there.
There we go.
As Edwin points out, PV and Southern should be pivotal for the SWAC title. I think he's on a previous week, so I'm sorry. Mary 305, she's going to the Classic. I know she will. I know she'll be there. I'll see you there, Mary. And so, I don't know where Drew is going. We lost Drew finally, unfortunately. Hopefully everything is good. Probably he just hit a dead spot out there somewhere. So we'll come back to him. I was trying to think of where he hasn't gone and see some interesting games in the MEAC. You got Morgan State at Howard, South Carolina State at Norfolk State. Those are and then, hey, how about this? Campbell at A&T. Could that game determine what? Maybe some playoffs could be on the line, possibly, maybe for Campbell or A&T, Jamie, possibly.
Yeah. I think Campbell comes in. They've had a lot of transfers, but they've also recruited well. They're amongst some of the leaders in FCS in recruiting last couple of years. So Coach Minner and that squad will be formidable. Of course, they beat down Central last year, but A&T beat them at homecoming in an epic comeback. So Campbell's, no team to be played with. But again, you're talking about going up, going up and down the gauntlet, man. Like that conference will be tough. So, we'll see. We shall see what happens. I think Campbell will be right around there. So that'll be a good game. I think that'll be a good game. Campbell's looking for some get back. Hopefully they'll get back to Bowie's Creek.
Okay, let's. I think Drew is back with us, so let me see here. Let's get Drew plugged in here. All right, Drew, are you there?
I am here. Yep. Y'all still there. The picks for week 11 thus far. 12 thus far.
Week 12. Yes. So where are you going?
I see these two teams for last. This is the game that I started with. Jack Alcorn.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
Alcorn.
Yeah. Yep.
I say so. That's the game I started with. They work backwards from there.
All right. I'm gonna put you on mute while hopefully you drive into it.
That's one.
All right, I'm gonna put you on mute until you drive into a better area. Yes. I look. I know I've been to the Florida Classic before, but this one will have special meaning. So I had to be at that one. Okay, so that's why I started with that game, and then I also started with the game that we're going to do for the final week of the season as the two games that I had to go to. So just kind of looking around here and see the rest of you guys. Okay, so here we go. Week 13, which is the last week of the regular season, November 20. Now, it's technically only two games this week. For this last week, you've got the Thursday Turkey Day Classic between Alabama State and Tuskegee, and then you have the Bayou Classic, Southern Grambling for the 50th time. Jamie, where are you going?
I'm going to the Bayou Classic. New Orleans, food, fun, debauchery.
Whoa, hey now, it's a family show, Jamie. Oh, hey, oh, slow down.
I'm going to New Orleans.
Okay, all right. Drew, are you there, Drew? All right, we got you back in. Let's see if your signal's any better. Where are you going the last week of the regular season?
To do two games in 1 week, as long as it's the same day. Hell, I'm in Montgomery, eating some turkey, kicking some hornets, you know what? And then I'll get it on I-65 to I, and 4 hours later, while I know in New Orleans, are you classic? Just straight simple. I'm doing both, man.
All right, there we go.
And you know what? I that's a good point. You're doing both now. Exactly. Karen's of the thought with you, Drew, that you can attend both of them. I just don't know if I've. Let me see. Have I seen? No, I've seen. See, I didn't want to do both because I've seen Alabama. I've seen Alabama State before. I saw them in the Magic City, so I wanted to be true to this, and that's why I didn't pick them for that. And I think I seen Tuskegee at the Morehouse Tuskegee Classic, so I had to not do both, even though it is appealing, to do both, and somehow we may do both. But yes, I agree right here with Edwin. It's the 50th Bayou Classic. Like, I'm gonna be looking for like some commemorative coin or something to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Bayou Classic. I think that'll be. I think that's gonna be great. Yeah. Okay, Chuck. They still be throwing beads that weekend. I mean, I've been to Mardi Gras. I know what happens in Mardi Gras stays in Mardi Gras. So I didn't know that. I didn't know y'all got down like that at the Bayou. But if that's how y'all get down, I will be in attendance. Y'all let me know. Let me know. Get the hurricanes going, boy. Anything's possible. Okay. So yes, I look forward to that. So that is our schedule. I didn't leave anything out, did I?
You're good.
Yeah, and of course the following week after that is the potentially the SWAC championship game. That technically is week 14 EA. So just so you can put on your calendar when you on week 14 is the SWAC championship game. And he's calling his shot already, FAMU and Alcorn in Bragg for the SWAC. So if you plan on being in Tallahassee, should be nice weather. Go ahead and put your calendars on around what is that, December 6th or something like that? No, it's December 2nd. December 2nd. I'm sorry if I'm doing the math right. Yeah, so that's week 14. All right. Okay. Let's see. Anything else up there? All righty. Yeah, Tamara T says she's Bragmound that weekend too. Okay, let's so I mean that's the schedule, Jamie. Now, Jamie, can you imagine what if we got a chance to broadcast our schedule? I might know somebody that might be able to, I might be able to talk into making our schedule one of those schedules that that we travel to, doing these games, BCSN coverage of the road trip. So I don't know. I know somebody.
Right.
I have to talk to him. I have to talk to him and see what's possible. But yeah, well, we appreciate you guys. Hey, you guys, if you want to put together your ultimate road trip, we would love to hear from you. Go ahead and put it together. And you know what? send us an email. I'm gonna go ahead and give. Ooh, this is dangerous. I'm gonna give my email address, my personal BCSN email that you can send your ultimate HBCU football road trip. So again, that's week 1 to 13. You can send it to BCSN Brian, BRYAN at gmail.com. So BCSN Brian at gmail.com and send us your list. Now, David Garner says the Turkey Day Classic, Drew, is the 99. So see, that means in 2024, I got to be there for the 100th anniversary of the Turkey Day Classic, right? Yeah, so got to be there for that. Appreciate that, David Garner. Edwin Moore, great tip here. Appreciate you. I won't be flashing nothing, but I don't want to get anybody else trouble, so appreciate you tipping folks off to that, Edwin. So I don't know. I may be at the casino boat. Sounds like where I might need to be, and just stay safe, Jamie.
Will do.
Stay out of trouble. So okay. Mike Reed, I love the suggestion. Who is that? And let me know. Shoot me a text. We talk. All right, Jimmy, let's wrap up the show with of course what was out there. We talked about it offline. Billboard, of course, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, 50th anniversary of rap. Billboard Music released the 50 best rap groups. If you haven't seen that list, folks, we're kind of curious what you think about it. But before we give the official, according to Billboard, their top 10 or top 5, I thought we'd go around the horn and talk about our top 5. Now, first off, I think it's interesting to talk about group. The word group.
Yeah.
What do you define as a rap group, Jamie?
3 or more, to be honest with you.
Does that include the DJ? Does that include the DJ?
Ooh, that's another great question. It depends on the group. Because some DJs have been significant parts of the group, while some haven't. So there's a couple of groups, labels on here that, I guess the DJ makes them a quote unquote group. So I don't know. I would say 3 or more. I would say without the DJ, but I think that all depends on what the DJ's role is.
All right. Drew, you want to add in here, jump in here? What is your definition of a group in terms of being a rap group?
So under JB's definition, you would have to throw Run DMC out because Jam Master J was the DJ and he was the third member of the group. So I say you have to include the DJ in the group. So, but I am with Jamie with the 3 or more moniker.
Well, it's interesting. So I like 3 or more. I'm including the DJ in a group, but the way you said it, it throws out certain people who are on this list. Eric B and Rakim. How about EPMD? Although, I mean, come on now. I mean, I don't know who the DJ was for EPMD, but I feel like you can't throw
MJG, Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, see, so here's I would tweak it. I would say if the group is 2 individuals and one of the individuals is not an MC, bye. You know what I'm saying? I think 2 MCs make a group. So I would keep the 8-Ball and MJG. I would keep the EPMD. But I would say goodbye to, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. No, that's not a group. That's,
I agree.
Who is the other one in that qualified that we talked about in that list?
Eric B.
Eric B. Rocket. That's solos. That's solo. That's solo group. I mean, Eric B. That's it. I mean, okay.
Rakim was
Rakim. I'm sorry, Rakim. Yeah. Eric B. was the DJ. So, all right.
And
okay.
Isn't it something that changed over the years? Also, it used to be when we were growing up, the DJ was listed first. Now it's the MC who's listed first.
Good point.
Where was the DJ other than Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince? Where else was the DJ?
Eric B. and Rakim, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Okay. See? All right, good point. Yes, so I think it did that's a good point. Good point, Drew. Okay. So let's go through our top 5. Jamie, we'll start with you. We'll just give us your 5. Your top 5.
Oh man, I'm gonna start from 5 to 1, man. The Locks is my number 5. Goody Mob is my number 4. Public Enemy is my number 3. Wu-Tang is my number 2. And number 1, they got it right. Outkast, number 1.
Okay. I kind of see. I'm with you on 1, 2 and a possible. I'm 2 and a possible with you right there. 2 and a possible. All right, Drew, your top 5.
Although I want to include the Sugar Hill Gang because they were the originals. The first group that I really started listening to was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. So that would be number 5 on my list. The next one I have to put in there as for the cultural significance, and that would be the Beastie Boys. Would have to be in there because of their cultural significance. They're the first white rap group who had crossover appeal. Next one, these next 2 changed the culture. First one being NWA. Totally changed the culture of rap. Garnered in gangster rap for good or for bad, but they garnered in gangster rap. And how about 2 Live Crew?
Yes.
Back in the day when it was Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke, whatever moniker he went by at that point in time. Before I mention number 1, I am mad that this list left off one of my favorite groups growing up, and that is Houdini.
Were they not in the top 50?
I
understand. I didn't see it either.
Wow. Okay.
You have Houdini, Friends, One Love, 5 Minutes of Funk. That was just one of my.
I still got the tape. I saw the cassette in a box somewhere. I still have the tape cassette.
one of the first albums that I went and bought with my own money.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So go ahead. Who's your one?
and my number one is, well, they may not be everybody else's number one, but Scarface. Not Scarface, Ghetto Boys. I'm sorry.
Ghetto Boys.
Oh,
Ghetto
okay,
Boys.
okay.
Ghetto Boys. Ghetto
Nah,
Boys,
I
because
mean,
they bought all Scarface. They bought all, Willie D. You had the whole crew came out of there. The Houston Sound came out of that. Honorable mention goes to Boogie Down Productions, though.
BDP. Okay. I got a group in here in my top 5 that none of you guys mentioned. So I feel like I'm gonna lead off with that then. Salt and Pepper. How do you guys not have Salt and Pep in your top 5 or even in your honorable mention? That's shameful. The pioneers. I'm not gonna say they're pioneers of female rap, but they were probably the largest. I saw somebody put Stetsasonic in there, but no, it was Salt and Pep. Salt and Pep is what set things ablaze, I think, right?
Good call. I agree.
Okay. The group that I really didn't know what to do with, I'm gonna be honest here, is Wu-Tang.
What?
Because this is my dilemma with Wu-Tang, right? Wu-Tang is now follow me here. Wu-Tang is the new edition of rap. Meaning that, hold on, I'm gonna bring Drew back in this. Hold on, I'm gonna bring back Drew. I was saying, Drew, I didn't know what to do with Wu-Tang. I didn't know whether to put them on my top 5 or have them as my +1. But I feel like Wu-Tang is the new edition of rap because it was a group, but then everybody came out of the group, did solo projects, and they were successful. Right? But I don't think I don't know, man. Anyway, I got like Wu-Tang on my +1.
Okay.
All right. Number 4 for me was Outkast. I lots of credit to Outkast, but I got them at number 4. Number 3, Public Enemy. Public Enemy was my number 3. Just the revolution and what they meant to that era. Number 2, the significance of this group should not be understated in the 80s. That's Run DMC. That's my number 2 group, Run DMC. And for me, number 1, NWA. Those brothers, and I'm just speaking as a kid who grew up in the Midwest, right? That group kind of changed the mindset, as Drew said, good and bad with it. I get it, good and bad, but that's my group. So again, my my honorable mention was Wu-Tang as my +1. Then you had Salt and Pepper as 5, Outkast as 4, Public Enemy 3, Run DMC 2, NWA as 1. All right. So Drew, hopefully you can say didn't know who were the top 10 according to Billboards. They said number 10 was the Roots. Interesting. Number 9, Drew keeps dropping, so I'm just not gonna. Drew, you're just gonna be on the outside for right now because I'm having to do too much. Number 9, De La Soul. That's interesting. Number 8, Salt and Pepper. Then you had 7. Now here's where you get into Eric B and Rakim. I'm sorry. I mean, it's given a lot of. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something and the significance of Eric B. I get it, but I still think when you're talking a group, I don't consider that feels like more Rakim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Public Enemy. Number 5 is Run DMC. 4, A Tribe Called Quest. That's interesting. None of us had A Tribe Called Quest in their top 5. And 4, no, excuse me, that was 4. 3 was NWA. 2 was Wu-Tang. And 1 was Outkast. So I think these guys who did this, they were young. They were young. Some young guys put this list together. I'm guessing some guys under 35 or younger. I don't think anybody.
So too.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and somehow Migos was in the top 20, which I saw somebody, but I don't understand that. Migos, young, y'all young. I'm sorry, I can't put. I don't know. The originators of mumble rap. You don't. I'm sorry. I'm not giving that. I'm not giving that any. Not.
But
not
rest
here.
in peace, Takeoff. Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, Takeoff. But
there you go.
But yeah.
All right. That's gonna do it for tonight. Any final thoughts you want to close out with, Drew? Since you've been strong enough to hang out and do this on the audio version with us. I don't know. I don't think we have Drew anymore. All right, Drew. We appreciate you, man. Stay safe. Text me offline, Drew. Let me know when you get to your final destination. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 80 Drew. Give him a shout out at BCSN Drew is where you can follow him on social. Okay, Jamie, any final thoughts you want to add before we close up shop?
Man, looking forward to football season. Just going down, the schedule, man, it's a significant games in significant spots. So shout outs to the schedulers and just looking forward to getting ready, man, for all of this to happen. So, hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Man, I enjoyed it, man. It's truly a pleasure doing this show with you. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for hanging a little extra overtime. I know we went a little bit over here. So
yes, sir, Dr. Cavill. That's the culture.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the culture. That's the culture of hip hop, So I love the final thoughts there by Doc. Remember the original elements of hip hop. So yeah, I see a few other people posting. Yeah, I never was. I like Tribe. I just never. I wasn't diehard into them. My focus was at that time was on the West Coast. So,
see, this is the thing, though. I think what you said about Wu-Tang was somewhat significant. I think when people broke out for their solo careers, that kind of took away from the elements of the group, or the status or significance of their group in some people's eyes. So I kind of understand that when you had even when it came to Tribe, once they went solo or once Q-Tip went solo, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, he was the significance of the person that was most prominent at that point. They kind of forgot about what the group did. So I can see that. I can see that.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Get us with us tonight. Hey, just as a little side note, Jamie, I went to go. I don't know if I told you, I went to go see Indiana Jones. If you enjoyed the original story of Indiana Jones in the first 3 movies, you will love this. I know there's a lot of negative reviews, and I know the sales haven't been great, but I really put it like this: I actually liked Indiana Jones better than The Flash.
Oh wow!
That hurt my heart to just say that, but I realized at the end of the day, I liked Indiana Jones over The Flash. I really did. I'm geeked about Mission Impossible. I think I'm gonna binge watch all of the Mission Impossibles. I don't even know what number this is, but I think I'm gonna have to do a IMDb to figure out which number we're on and go back and find and just do a binge on Mission Impossible. That's what I'm looking forward to in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So any other good movie tips or anything you want to recommend anybody?
Oh man, please go see if you haven't already. Both The Little Mermaid and Superman. If you have not seen not Superman, I'm bugging. Spider-Man.
Yes, Spider-Man.
Like,
yeah.
I think that movie is culturally significant because you saw representation all over that movie.
Good point.
You just did. So it is an outstanding movie. It is truly outstanding.
All right. Well said. Thank you for everybody for hanging in there. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door. You're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at MyBCSN1, the number 1, or the Facebook page, BCSN SportsWrap. And look out for the podcast. If you miss any parts of the show, find it on the BCSN Pod Zone, everywhere you listen and download the podcast. That's Amazon Music, Apple, so on and so forth. All right. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. Appreciate you guys. And if we don't talk to you on the 4th, have a happy 4th. I think, Doc, are you doing a show Tuesday on July 4th while you're in the room? And let everybody know to tune in on July 4th, Tuesday, wherever you're celebrating. Be safe. Watch out for the fireworks, people. Watch out for the people who don't know what the hell they're doing with fireworks, and don't end up on a viral video with a hand or finger blown off, so on and so forth. So be safe. Dr. Cavill will be doing his show. He says yes, he will be doing the show Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Dr. Cavill is inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. We're done for this night. For AD Drew and Jamie Walker, I'm Brian Fulford. Peace out, everybody.
But stay on hard.